So, hi everyone, welcome back to the MedSpeed Podcast. My name is Christian Foster. I'm a second year medical student at the UWI Mona campus, and in this podcast, I interview persons in the healthcare field, specifically in the Caribbean, to share their experiences, advice, and overall perspective of the healthcare field. In today's episode, episode 2, I have a very special guest, Ms. Gema Springer. Gema is a third year medical student from Barbados, and we attend the same medical school. Before I get into the questions, I would just like to state that Gema was one of the few Caribbean YouTubers with medicine-related content that I would watch before I got accepted to medical school, and she was a huge inspiration to me when it came to the content I currently produce on this channel. Welcome, Gema.
Hi, Christian. Thank you so much for having me.
Not a problem, not a problem. So, Gemma, I just want to ask, how are you doing? Because I noticed that you started your third year of medical school. So I just want to know, how has that been so far?
So far, it's been good. I've just been focusing a lot on, keeping up with the classes and also preparing for step one because
Okay.
I am preparing for that. That's probably going to be next year for me. So I'm
Okay.
trying to balance those at once. And
Okay.
then also, it's kind of a struggle trying to remember that I'm still in summer because everyone is on
Yeah.
vacation and I'm here
Yes.
studying.
Yes. So I can
Yeah.
imagine you'd be tempted to go out, but you know you're obligated to stay home and study these long hours.
It's not so much the temptation to go out. I'm generally
Mm-hmm.
someone who likes to stay home.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it's just when people ask me like, "What are you up to?" and I'm like, "Well, school." And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, how is school going for you?" And then they say, "Oh, I'm not in school." I'm just like,
Yeah.
"Oh
I
yeah,
understand.
it's summer."
Yes, yes, yes. And there's
hmm
another two
And
months of
then,
that. So
well, I guess. hmm And then I had like, I guess, a little bit of temptation to just hang out with my friends when I was staying
okay.
at my friend's house. The majority of us are med students, but one of them,
Okay.
she's doing psychology, so she's having her entire summer, so she wouldn't always remember that we're in school and she's
Yeah.
free to do whatever she wants.
Yes,
So
yes.
whenever she'd be having fun, I'll just be tempted to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, I
But you have to really
understand.
get a good balance so you don't burn out
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, 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 for sure. All
hmm
right. So I'm gonna get into the questions. And question number one is, what was your reason for going to Jamaica to study medicine, despite there being a medical school in Barbados, in your home country?
Okay, so for me, I've just always wanted to study abroad.
Mm-hmm.
So I applied for medical school in the UK
Okay.
and I wasn't accepted there.
Okay,
And
okay.
I also applied for St. George's University
Oh, that's
because, like I
in
said, I am
wait,
preparing
where's that again?
for Grenada.
Grenada,
Grenada.
okay.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I do plan to do residency in the US. So I saw
Okay.
St. George's University as a really good pathway, but honestly, I couldn't afford it.
Okay,
So
yeah.
my next choice was then, well, my final choice abroad would have been Jamaica, and I got accepted there. I
Okay.
also got a scholarship to go there, so that really helped
Oh,
a lot.
oh wow, that's really good.
hmm
That's really good. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you, did you ever consider a career outside of medicine, or was that always the path that you wanted to go down?
Okay, so medicine has always been the path I wanted to go down, but I always somehow saw myself doing something else on the side. And I
Okay.
don't know if you've heard, but a lot of people recommend that you have other means of income
Oh
in
yeah, for
besides
sure.
medicine.
For
And I
sure.
guess that was always with me naturally growing up because
Mm-hmm.
at first I was like, okay, I'll be a doctor and I'll have a salon on the side to do people's hair. Then I wanted to be a doctor and a chef. I don't know how I
Wow.
thought that was going to work out.
Well, I guess when you're a child, your imagination runs wild. So
It just runs wild. And
yeah.
then I got the opportunity to work in the kitchen for a few weeks in the summer.
Okay.
And I enjoyed preparing the food, but at the same time, I did not like having to stand up on my feet
Yeah. Yeah.
that long. I
Yeah.
mean, in medicine, as a doctor, you'd probably have to be on your feet a lot. But at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, I think I would prefer being on my feet helping patients more
Okay.
than being on my feet cooking food.
I understand. I understand.
So yeah, I think
Yeah.
that was the last career I think I had outside of medicine that I would have wanted to be.
Oh, okay, that's nice. I think before I wanted to get into medicine, for a very long time, I wanted to study law, but that was like 100% because of my mom. She's a lawyer. So I was like,
Oh, okay.
but then as I grow older, I was like, I'm really going to be doing this for her and not for myself. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, nah, I have to follow my dreams. So that's why,
Exactly.
yeah. All right. So question three, I'm ask you, why did you start creating medicine related content for your YouTube channel?
Okay, so pretty much because of America Rivera. She was
This is like part of my reason too. Like her videos are so good.
they are, and she really gave a lot of insight into medical school life. And I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to do that for especially Caribbean students because we don't have
Mm-hmm.
anybody like showing
No,
that for
there's
us.
nobody. There's literally
Mm-mm.
nobody. Like when I tell you, I was so happy because I'm the type of person when it comes to anything that I'm going into in life, I will stay on YouTube for months before I get there. So when I
Mm-hmm.
the year before, I because you see that year that I was in SciTech, I spent
Mm-hmm.
that entire year looking for people in the Caribbean because it's nice to see people in the US, but it's not relatable at all. Like it is
It's
not
not.
related. The curriculum is different, the process is different. So
Mm-hmm.
when I stumble upon your videos, I was like, I'm so happy about this because you were natural with it and you showed like what it really was to attend medical school in the Caribbean. And that like I'm happy you said America because I kind of was like I was very interested in her videos, but stumbling upon
Mm-hmm.
your videos, it was like a Caribbean version of that. So
Oh, thank you. I'm glad that really helped you.
no problem, no problem. All right, so we're gonna go into some more academic stuff. So
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you, what is something that you're looking forward to? Okay, by the way, this is a two-part question. Eh? So
Okay.
I'm asking you, what is something that you're looking forward to with respect to your upcoming clinical training?
Surgery rotation. I want
Okay.
to go into surgery
Okay, because that
and
was a follow-up question. I was going to ask you what specialty do you want to pursue?
oh, well, I guess I answered it already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to go into surgery, and I've never ever been in an OR, so I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what it's like. I just know
Oh.
what I've seen on TV,
Mm-hmm.
which is probably not the most accurate,
Yeah.
but that's the what I'm most excited for.
Okay, so is there any like specific subspecialty of surgery you want to go into or just general?
Cardiothoracic surgery, but I would
Okay.
have to go into general surgery first.
Okay, yeah,
There
yeah,
are
yeah.
some cardiothoracic programs in the US, but I think
Mm-hmm.
they're very few, and so it will probably be very hard to get into one as an
Okay.
IMG. I can
That
still
is
apply,
true.
but it will be very hard to get in.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay,
Hmm.
so well, that's interesting. I don't know why, but I thought, okay, I
Hmm.
hope this doesn't sound away, but I thought you would go into something like OB-GYN. I thought you would be into obstetrics. I don't know why.
I am honestly excited for that one as well.
Oh, really?
I don't
Okay.
see myself going into it, but I'm
Hmm.
excited for it.
Okay,
Like
okay.
we got to see a C-section
Oh
and
yes, I
that.
saw
I
that
was
in your
just so
video.
excited.
Yeah, I could tell.
Yes, I
Okay,
was
okay.
just so over the moon excited for it, and I just can't wait to like do it myself, like
Actually
help
see it. Yeah,
bring a
because
baby into the world. Like
yeah,
that's just amazing to me.
that's
I
something
heard the
that.
specialty itself is rough because
Mhm.
sorry.
No, no, no. Go on, go on.
Oh, okay. I was saying that I've heard the specialty itself is rough because the times are very unpredictable. Like a baby could come in just any
Oh,
moment.
okay.
You know,
Yeah.
a woman could come in with a whole bunch of different things, and you also
Mm.
have the cancers
Oh
that come
yes.
with it. Hmm.
Okay, okay.
So I don't know if it's something I would want to go into because I'm not really
Mm-hmm.
into like dealing with cancers, and that can
Yeah,
be a very depressing field
yeah, I understand.
when it comes to that.
Yeah, I don't think I
Hmm.
see myself doing OB-GYN, but I definitely am looking forward to something like that in med school because from what I've seen online, it's difficult for I might be, I might not be saying something accurate, but it's difficult for male medical
Hmm.
students to get like the same exposure as female medical students do because
Yeah, I can
women
understand
don't
that.
feel extremely comfortable having men that they don't know in their personal space. So I am looking forward to
Hmm.
seeing C sections and just anything related to OB-GYN. But That's interesting to know
Yeah.
that you want to go into cardiothoracic surgery. I believe you can do it. I think
Yeah.
you can do it.
Thank you.
All right. So I know you touched upon it a little bit when I was doing the introduction, but I want to ask you,
Mhm.
do you want to practice medicine in the Caribbean, or are you planning to move away once you've graduated?
I plan to do my internship in the Caribbean
Okay.
and then move away to do residency in the US and then
Oh,
hopefully move
okay.
to Canada.
Okay. Wow.
Mhm.
Okay. That's
Yeah, I've
really
been to
good.
Canada once and I just really loved it.
Okay. So wait.
But the thing is,
Mhm.
mhm.
No, no, no. Talk.
Okay, so the thing is moving directly from the Caribbean as a medical graduate to Canada is very
Mm-hmm.
difficult. Becoming a
Okay.
doctor in Canada itself is difficult for
Mm-hmm.
Canadians
Mm-hmm.
because they're very like strict and they take a very small amount of people to become
Oh.
doctors, to go to medical school and then to get into residency is just very difficult there. So becoming a doctor in Canada, the best way is to do your USMLEs
Mm-hmm.
and then go to the US, do your residency, and then maybe do fellowship in Canada. Because when it
Oh.
comes to fellowship, you can pretty much do it anywhere in the world, as far as I know.
And you're eligible with
You
your
can go to
USMLE
England.
certificate. Sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
as
I
far
thought you
as I
had to
know,
do.
yes.
I thought you had to do a specific test for Canada.
If you're going straight to Canada, so like not having done residency, just straight from medical school, you
Hmm.
have to do the Canadian exams.
Oh, I actually didn't know that. That's interesting. So that's another
Hmm.
like outlet
Yeah.
that people could look forward to then, as opposed to staying within the
Yes.
Caribbean or in the US.
Yeah,
Oh.
but the thing is, even if you do the Canadian exams, it's still really difficult to get into residency in Canada. There was a guy who came, well, he didn't come, but it was a Skype call, I believe.
Hmm.
And he talked to us when we were still on campus. And he said he did the Canadian exams and he applied for residency, and it took years for him to get in.
Wow.
Years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a
So
Caribbean
you
person?
either you have to be really, yeah, a Canadian.
Wow.
He sounded like a Bajan when he was talking, but I didn't
Oh,
really hear where he said he was from. I could just
okay.
go based on his accent.
Okay. Wow.
Hmm.
That's insane. But oh Lord. But I want to okay, so this is another two-part question. I'm going to ask
Hmm.
another school related question, but I'm going to ask, what has been your greatest challenge that you faced academically in medical school?
I think I'm between two scenarios in my head. I'm
Give
between
both.
the
Give both.
first. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
So the first one for me would be the first semester of med school.
Oh Lord.
Adjusting to medical school was just
Ugh, the
it was just so
worst.
difficult,
The worst.
First of all, the timetable itself, I'm so accustomed to secondary school timetable. You would
Mm-hmm.
have math, Caribbean studies,
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
And you
But
can
on
get
the
a break
timetable, it would say
sometimes.
math. Hmm. So on the timetable, it would say you have math for X
Mm-hmm.
amount of time. You would have Caribbean studies for X amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
But in medical school now, because it's so much content,
Mm-hmm.
they don't just put you're studying anatomy for this amount of time.
Yeah.
You're studying more med for this amount of
Mm-hmm.
time. They put the topic that you're
Oh, I
studying.
hated.
So
Oh gosh.
I, right? At first, I was just so confused. I was like, so is this more med? Is this anatomy?
Yeah.
I don't know if they explained the timetable like during the first week, like, on the orientation day, because I missed
Mm-hmm.
that,
Oh yeah, 'cause I saw that in your
unfortunately.
video. Yeah.
Hmm. I missed that. So I don't know if they explained it, but when I got there, I was just so confused.
Mm-hmm.
And then, getting used to PowerPoints as well, instead of just reading from my notes. And,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the teachers would give you notes to write
Mm-hmm.
down.
Yeah.
So that was challenging too.
Mm-hmm.
And then just the amount of work you have to cover for the end of the
Yes.
semester. And you're not even like given like coursework. at that
Mhm.
time you weren't given coursework during the
Yeah.
semester, and you just had
Mhm.
that final exam to just study for.
Especially FDT. FDT was 100% the end of semester exam. I was like, this is insanity. And FDT
Mm-hmm.
is arguably like one of the, because even last semester with the 8 courses that we did in one semester, I still find
Mm-hmm.
FDT is like one of the hardest exams I've ever done in my life because
Mm-hmm.
the sheer like volume of work that
Yeah.
you have to retain. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, because with medicine, it's, I think this is like a universal thing. Medicine in itself is not very difficult to grasp. The concepts
I
are not
agree.
difficult to grasp because you have a solid enough foundation from
Mm-hmm.
CAPE and CSEC.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's easy for you to understand how these things work, but it's just FDT was, I cannot even, like, it was
It
so
was
much, it was
just too
too
much.
much. And for them
I
to put
wish. Mm-hmm.
yes,
Continue.
I was just saying for them to put it all on the final exam with no type of like at least like a POL or like some type of assignment or presentation
Mm-hmm.
would be, it would suffice. But yeah, what
Mm-hmm.
were you saying?
I was just saying that I wish I had known about like sketchy medical at that time,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
I've been using it to study now. Like ever since I started using it in,
Mm-hmm.
when did I start using it? The first semester of second year.
Okay.
I started going over microbiology, and I just wish that I would have used that, because
Mm-hmm.
all those organisms, all those drugs, it would have just been so much easier.
Because it's so hard to learn it on your, I don't think I had a proper method of learning all those. I think I tried Anki. I made like a really big Anki deck, but it was so much
Mm-hmm.
because the cards pile up and pile up on top of having
Mm-hmm.
to study for locomotor. And it was just, the first semester was rough, 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 rough,
Yeah.
rough. And
I
then
think at that time I tried using Anki as well, but it didn't really
mm-hmm.
work out. I didn't know what
Yeah.
it was doing. I was just making
Same
cards, trying
here,
to stay
same
on top of
here.
them.
Yeah.
Didn't really work out.
Anki only really started working for me in second semester because I knew
Mm-hmm.
that that was the only means of me retaining that much information. I started
Mm-hmm.
off really slow. So I started off only doing them for hematology because I really like
Mm-hmm.
teams. So I was like, okay, I might as well
I
have
really like
one.
him too.
Yeah, I was like, I might as well have one subject I pass. And
Yeah.
then when I when I realized how effective it was, because I would wake up on a morning and let's say I had 200 cards, I would get through it in like 30 minutes. And I'm like, that's so unlike me because, but it was because I
Mm-hmm.
was actively like recalling it and the
Exactly.
information was sticking. So I'm like, okay, let me start doing this for respiratory anatomy. It started
Mm-hmm.
working. And I was like, I really wish I did this in my first semester, but it's so hard to grasp it because when you're in your first semester, you're like juggling, like you're just like, what will work, what will work, what will work.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it's constant because my sister, she's a doctor, and she said that throughout medical school, it's basically just like freestyling and finding what works because what works for him will not work for respi. What works for respi will not
Mm-hmm.
work for cell bio. So
Mm-hmm.
it really is just playing around with it. But I wish I
Yeah.
wish more people would use Anki as opposed to
I wish
just
so too.
cramming big textbooks because you don't have the time. You literally don't
You
have the
really
time.
don't.
You
Mm-mm.
don't. All right, so I asked
Okay.
you
Oh, the
about that.
second
Oh
one.
yeah, the second one, yes.
So I guess the second one for me would be having to leave Jamaica and then do school completely online. I
Oh.
think there was like a benefit to it in that
Mm-hmm.
before having classes online, we were not given the recordings of class. So
Mm-hmm.
if you missed class, you missed class, and all you had was the
Yeah.
PowerPoints.
Yeah.
But I just didn't like being confined to my house
Yeah.
every single time. Because
Yeah.
I mean, at that time, it's not just that we came back home to do
Mm-hmm.
classes online. There was a
Yes.
pandemic, so you couldn't
Yes.
even leave your house, like go to the library or
Exactly.
anything like that.
Literally just stuck at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate. I think I agree with that. It was very difficult starting online, but I did spend the very first semester that we were online. I remember I wasn't in med school, so I didn't exactly feel that way. It was only when we
Mm-hmm.
actually started in September, I was like, this is going to be tough
Mm-hmm.
because I have no access to cadavers. I have no access to a
Yeah.
library. I was like, this is gonna really suck. And it did. It was really hard. Like I
Mm-hmm.
would actually get like pretty emotional about the fact that I wasn't learning anatomy well because I've always wanted to. Because before I started, I would hear people talking about all these muscle attachments and nerves, and and I'll be
Yeah.
like, I can't wait to learn it. And it just never sticks properly because you're forced
Mm-hmm.
to somewhat cram. And
Mm-hmm.
I really hate cramming, but you have to do what you have to do
I feel you.
sometimes.
And
Yeah,
I guess it's a bit disappointing for you as well because you're coming into medical school. You want to see the
exactly.
cadavers, feel the
Yeah.
structures, and
Hmm.
then no, you can't. And all you have to
Exactly.
rely on is what you see in this on the screen.
Exactly. And especially somebody coming from SciTech who had a rigorous lab components. I was actually
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to a somewhat relaxed version of those labs with like cell bio. So I was when we
Mm-hmm.
had to do like the oral glucose test lab online, I was like, this really it's not cool. Like I wanted to do this in
Mm-hmm.
person. But I guess you
Mm-hmm.
get used to it and you really just have no choice but to adapt to it and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, but it is a limitation. But on the flip side, I want to ask you, what has been your greatest achievement thus far in medical school?
Greatest achievement, I think, in the second semester of first year,
Mm-hmm.
I went like all in.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't use Anki, but I used Quizlet, and
Okay, I mean
I
same
did my
concept.
yeah. Well, they don't do spatial repetition. That's the
I
sad
guess you
thing.
have to
That's
do
why
it
I
by
switched to
yourself.
Anki.
Okay, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
So I did that. I would do my cards that I set for myself every single morning. I
Mm-hmm.
would get up, study, make my cards. I was
Wow.
it was going good. Plus, we also had some time off because that's when the pandemic had just happened.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we
The
had like a
month.
month off. So I
Yeah.
told myself, okay, I'm gonna use this month and I'm gonna study
Wow.
because in the first semester
Mm-hmm.
I did fail two exams
Okay.
and I didn't want that to happen again. So I
Okay.
went all in and I got, I think, all A's and one B.
Wow. That's impressive. That is really impressive
Yeah.
because that is a really difficult semester. We had 8 courses.
Hmm.
Did you do a foundation course that semester or you just had the eight?
Yeah, I did foundation course.
That's really good. That's really, really good. I didn't do
Hmm.
nearly as well, but that just shows like how much because I remember watching your video when you were saying your grades after the second semester. And I was like,
Hmm.
that's like a complete bounce back. Like you just flipped it.
Yeah.
So that's really impressive. That is really
I
impressive. So
guess
mhm,
being online and just being able to just be home at that time kind of
mhm,
motivated me to just do what I can to
okay.
show them and
Mhm,
myself that I can pass medical school and I can pass
yes.
it well and I'm not gonna let the previous semester define me.
Yeah, yeah, that's commendable. That is really impressive. So, with respect to the two exams that you had failed, when did you sit those?
I did those in the summer after first year.
Okay,
You
all
have the
right.
option to do it
In the first
the
semester.
next yeah of the next school
Okay,
year because at that time you wouldn't have to pay for it, but
okay,
at the same time I wouldn't really recommend it. And this is how I don't know if I should say this so you could edit this out after, I don't know, but this is how you gets your money
mm-hmm. Yep.
because um being a medical student and having to juggle all those courses in second year,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
they're rough. So
Yeah.
they know you're not going to want to do your redo your exams
In the
during that semester
summer.
for
Yeah.
free.
Oh yeah.
So they're gonna let you do it in the summer and
Okay.
pay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I'm
So
currently doing
that's
my final foundation. I already did two in my first year, and my first year when I did SciTech, and I was going to do another foundation during the semesters in med school, but I was literally too overwhelmed. I couldn't bother to open a non-curriculum textbook and study. So I was like, I'll just wait
mm-hmm,
until the summer. And I kind of like I'm on the same page as you. Like I kind of wish I didn't have to pay for it because it's
mm-hmm,
unnecessary expense, but
mm-hmm,
I literally can't imagine having to do it like while I'm studying for my actual
yeah,
medical school exams, which are already so
mm-hmm,
difficult.
mm-hmm.
So, but I guess so there's a plus and a negative to it.
I
So
agree.
okay, so we're down to the final question. So
Okay.
I can't really let the time pass so quickly, but
Yeah, I wonder how much time it's been.
me too. But I'm gonna ask, what is something that you wish somebody told you before you started medical school?
Okay, so I have like a little story, and then I'll like break it down into like what it means.
Okay.
So, okay. So one time I was at the beach. We had a fun day with my church, and there was one of the rides that I've never tried before. It was called, the banana boat.
Yes, yes, yes.
The rice. So I wanted to go on that, and in order to go on the banana boat, you have to be able to swim.
Okay.
Thankfully, I have some proficiency in that,
Mm-hmm.
and they also give you life jackets, right?
Mm-hmm.
So while I have some proficiency of being able to swim, I have never been at that time in the deep end of the ocean. Like I mean, like the deep blue, deep blue
Yeah.
side of the ocean. So I went on the banana boat, and as I expected the sailor who was towing the boat to bring us closer and closer to the deep end, what I
Mm-hmm.
didn't expect was for him to increase the speed and make us fall off. So I heard people in front of me saying, okay, he's going to increase the speed. He's going to increase the speed and he's going to bring the boat around and we're going to just all fall into the ocean. I'm like, no, he
Mm-hmm.
won't do that. Like, can't he even do that? He's not going to do that. So I was like, nah, they're just joking. So I just continued to hold on to the little rope in front of me
Mm-hmm.
so I wouldn't fall just in case he actually did.
Mm-hmm.
But next thing you know, I blinked and then I'm in the ocean.
Wow.
So now that I'm in the ocean, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he just did that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
breathing heavily, heart rate goes up,
Mm-hmm.
respiratory rate goes up. And I'm just like, okay, gotta swim, gotta swim, gotta swim, gotta get back to the boat. And I'm not even moving. I
Oh my
keep
god.
moving my arms and my legs, but I am not getting closer to the boat at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I just calm myself down. I'm like, okay, you know how to swim, but you're not moving, but you know how to
Mm-hmm.
swim. You can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Just relax and do what you know to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I relax, I breathe, and I start swimming. And I get
Mm-hmm.
closer to the boat. And I
Okay.
made it. And I got
Mm-hmm.
back on, and everything is good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I say this to mean is that, right, you can get all of the advice in the world about how to start medical school, what to do, and all of that. And the people ahead of you will tell you what is what. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, you might be saying to yourself, nah, med school isn't that bad. The same way I was like, nah, he's not gonna let us fall off the boat, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not that it's bad, but it is a lot. And you should trust
Mm-hmm.
what the people ahead of you are saying because they have done it. They have been through it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Right. But also, it's not until you get to med school that you know what works for you because what works for one person may not work for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, while I saw everyone swimming to the boat, they were all doing it. And I was trying to do the same thing, but it
Mm-hmm.
just wasn't working for me. I needed to calm myself down at first
Mm-hmm.
and then swim to the boat.
Okay.
Um, right. And when you get into your first semester of med school, it will seem like everything everyone told you was true, but you might
Mm-hmm.
just forget everything they say and you might start just what's the word I want to say?
Freaking out.
Yes, you'll start freaking out. But just relax.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Right.
It happens.
Okay. Just relax.
Mm-hmm.
You have done the work. You have what it takes to be here.
Mm-hmm.
You got this and you can move past it. So
Mm-hmm.
just believe in yourself and keep swimming.
Wow, I really like that analogy. From when you ended, I was like, okay, I can kind of see where this is going. But that's a really, really, really good analogy because I think that's important. I think when people get to medical school, they think it's just all about who's gonna be the top of the class and who's
Mm-hmm.
gonna study the most and who's gonna retain the most. But at the end of the day, there's gonna be people who are gonna do better than you. There's gonna be people
Mm-hmm.
who are not gonna do as good as you. It really is about your journey and you doing what you're capable of doing and just like you said, staying calm because you have the capability. You're here for a reason. They chose you for a reason. So you just take your time and you
Mm-hmm.
understand, you do your work.
Yeah.
And that
Mm-hmm.
that was a really good piece of advice. I wish somebody would tell me that as well, because I spent a long time freaking out about how much I should study and what books I need to get, and I should be ordering this, I should be ordering that, when really all I had to do
Yeah.
was just sit down and take it day by day, one step at a time. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's a really good piece of advice, Gemma.
Thank
All
you.
right. So that was the final question. So I just
Mm-hmm.
want to thank you so much for being the second guest on my podcast. What you're doing with your YouTube channel is extremely helpful for students,
Thank
as it was
you.
for me. And I want you to keep up the great work. I wish you all the best in your third year of medical school and the beginning of your clinical training. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best in your med school journey as
Thank you.
well.
Thank you. Thank you.